beautiful people, and welcome back again to my YouTube channel. And if you're new, welcome to my YouTube channel. You guys also requested that I sometimes do a story time but make it interesting, and here I am giving you guys what you requested for. So darlings, today we are going to talk about compromises, be it in relationship, be it in marriages, be it in jobs, even be it when it comes to our parents, be it when it comes to our siblings. We've once in our lifetime, or we do constantly have to compromise if we love someone. But has it ever gotten to a point where you sat down and said, wow, that was too much of a compromise, that was too much, you know? And I guess when it gets to that point, it's not a compromise anymore. In future, we look back and regret, why did I have to do that, you know? Why did I have to make that decision? When you compromise too much to the point where it changes the core of who you are, then I think that's not a compromise anymore. That's a sacrifice, you know? And sometimes we do that without even realizing. We come to realize it later on, maybe years after. It could be months after or days after, but sometimes it could be even years after when it's already too late. I always say, even though we must sometimes compromise, we always have to think about, how will I take it in a few years to come? Will I regret it? Especially when it comes to maybe even in marriages, or maybe in families. You get to that point and then you start maybe resenting those people or that person, or you leave regretting what you did. So I think when it comes to, when you sit down and you think that that's what is going to happen in a few years, then I always think it's best to first sit, take a step back, and really think clearly if you really want to go ahead and do that or not. Anyway, let's get to the story time. And I know all of us, if not all of us, then most of us have compromised or sacrificed. Some are extreme and some are not extreme. Like personally, I don't think I can ever sit down right now and say I regret doing this and this and this. I think everything I did it the best way I could at that particular time, and I wouldn't do it any other way. So for me, I wouldn't say I ever did anything, I ever compromised so much that I regret. No, I don't think I ever did that, but I have compromised, and I think most of us have. So let's go to the story time anyway. The other day, I was having a lunch break, and this lady came by, and we were talking, and it came to a point where I said, I have a child, by the way, I have a son. And she was so happy. How old is your child? And then she ended up asking me, oh, are you married? I said, no, I'm not married. And so I returned the same question. I said, are you also married? Do you have kids? And the moment I told her that, or I asked her that, literally tears welled in her eyes. Literally, you could really see sadness in her face. And I just said, I wish I did not ask her, but I had already asked her anyway. So she told me, I'm not married, but I am together with my long-term partner of more than 20 years, and we do not have kids because he did not want to have kids, and neither did he want to get married. And out of, I'm human, so I asked, so you wanted, did you want to get married? Did you want to have kids? And she said, initially, yes, I wanted to have kids, I wanted to get married, but he's really a good person, and it's not easy to find a man who truly loves you and truly gives you everything that you ever desired, and it's not easy. So for me, I just had to sacrifice that part of my life, that I wanted to get married and that I wanted to have kids and be with him, because he treated me incredibly well. And literally, she was saying that, but she was, at that point, she couldn't hold it. Tears were coming out of her eyes, and I felt so sorry. And I asked her, but so you stayed with him because he treated you well and you thought you couldn't find someone better than him, and so you had to sacrifice you not having kids and you not getting married like you wanted? She said yes. And now I do think about it, but it's already too late. She's in her I think she's in her 60s. I didn't ask, of course, her age, but I think she's in her 60s. And I felt so bad for her. And the way she spoke, looking at her face, literally, you could really see how sad she was. And it got me thinking, how many times do we make huge sacrifices? And it's not only for partners, it could be career wise, could be family, and all that. How many times do we make huge sacrifices and then we end up in future regretting taking that step? How many times do we do things without putting ourselves first, but putting others first, and so doing things to make others happy? And then we end up wishing, wishing we never did that, you know? It's okay to make sacrifices for the people you love. It's okay to make compromises for the people you love. It's okay, because it will be unfair if just one person makes sacrifices, or compromises, I will say. But no matter how much you love someone, I think it's important to think, how am I going to feel in a few years to come because of this decision that I am about to make now? You know, because I couldn't even, I couldn't ask her more question. I just hugged her and then I said, okay, my break is over, and then we said bye and all that, you know. But there's so many people, and this goes to both men and women, of course, in families and in every situation. Sometimes people make sacrifices or compromises, and then in future, for the same sacrifices they made, for the same compromises they made, they resent, they live in bitterness, you know. And so they, either it destroys them, or it destroys, maybe if it's a marriage, or if it's family, or if it's a job. You end up destroying something that you made a huge sacrifice for, you know. And it's not okay, you know. It's not okay. So guys, I want you to tell me in the comment section, have you ever made any sacrifices or compromises? You don't even have to mention what type of sacrifices or compromises you made, but is there anything you ever did and then now you look back and say, I wish I did not do that, you know? I feel like it's important, even after years, when you make a compromise for your loved ones, you look back and say, I am glad I did that for my loved ones. I am glad I took that step. I'm glad I made that compromise for my loved ones. I am glad I did that. So let me know in the comments section what you think about sacrifices or compromises. Do you think it's okay to go overboard even if you think in a few years you won't feel the same way you feel at that particular point? Or do you think it's okay to take a step back even if it's going to hurt the other people or person? Do you think it's important to take a step back and rethink your decision? So, my darlings, this brings us to the end of this conversation today. Yes, conversation, because we're going to continue. In the comments section, you're going to tell me what you think, and we talk about it in the comments section. So, this brings us to the end of this. I'm going to share a Bible verse, and I will see you guys on the next one. Also, before I go, you guys, let me know in the comments section any other topic you would like for me to talk about, and I will make another story time, but make it interesting. Okay, I will see you guys on the next one.